when my son was born, I've had all of my friends and all these writers write, autograph it for him. So like Bodhi. So when he turns 21, he's going to be gifted this library of all these books dedicated, to him. Right. And so we have like Tobias Jess, who won the Pulitzer, and George Saunders, who won the Man Booker. Right. And a lot of my other friends who've taken the time to sign their books for him. Yeah. So that's actually something I'm really looking forward to when he gets older. The first thing a lot of people ask me, it's not my last name, right? My last name is long enough. They get it. It's my first name, Ira. And they're like, it's like a Hebrew name, right? What, like, did your mom, was she Jewish? I'm like, no. And so my mom and dad just said they looked in a book and picked what they thought was a good American name that meant successful, and decided to give me this very Hebrew name, which when I was growing up, I was not very fond of, right? I wanted a Thai name, like a really complicated, like monosyllabic Thai name. But to me, like now I love it in the way that there's no Ira Sukrungruang anywhere else in the world, right? So yeah. And so grew up in Chicago, lived for most of my life in Oaklawn, Illinois, and which is a southwest suburb of Chicago. My mom worked for a long time in the inner city of hospitals, Inglewood Hospital. It was interesting because even though I have this really Hebrew name, like the first rule in my house was to talk Thai all the time, right? They refused to, my mom especially refused to talk to me in any other language until probably like first or second grade, like when I entered school for the first time. And then she's like, well, I think I'm going to have to change my ways because this is going to be very difficult for him to navigate if we don't put English into the language. And I always find that really interesting where I am now as a professor of English and creative writing, right? And when I didn't know how to speak English for like the first 6 or 7 years of my life, we ate Thai food. Auntie Sue was like amazing in the kitchen, but she would have to, do with what she had, right? So she invented some really interesting dishes like yum Oscar Mayer hot dogs or something, right? Which is like hot dogs that is like a spicy salad, right? That Thai people have, and so it was delicious. So like the food to me was it was Thai, but it was really much more indicative of what it was like to live in Chicago, right? In that family, in our little bi-level. I was so enamored by my aunt in the kitchen. I was so enamored by the smells, the sound of what that kitchen in Chicago, sound and felt like. And so I remember when I was like 6 or 7 years old, cooking alongside her, right? She would be making a pad thai or something, and I would be making like a stir-fried version of my Star Wars action figures or something, right? And she would just let me do whatever I want. I would add a little milk into it and toss it around. I would put some grapes in it. And so to me, that memory stands out because it was this like very shared moment, right? Of like me cooking alongside of her and feeling like this is what we do. This is what our family does, right? This is what we value. And I remember her picking up like Chewbacca or something and just like licking his head. It's like, oh, this is delicious, right? But yeah, that's a memory that I think about often when it comes to like cooking and food. When she passed away, I think one of the things that was hardest was like locating that taste again and knowing that you won't ever. Like what she created was hers and hers alone, right? Part of, for me, like food writing, when people write about food writing is about loss, right? Like we're trying to recapture and get to something that we had once, and we're trying to relive that through language, which is impossible, right? And so, I mean, there are reasons why I live an hour away from school, from Kenyon College, right? And one of those reasons was I need to be close to Asian grocery stores. I need to be close to restaurants, right? The thing that to me, someone had asked me is like, when do you feel most Asian? And I can tell you when I'm eating, right? when I'm in a restaurant. Like that to me is like a really wonderful, safe place.